over to Japan, where it's currently, the season's over, it's all finished, but there's still lots going on. You've had an international tournament to speak of that the national team didn't have a great time at, and also lots of sort of comings and goings. So if we start off with the Asia Cup. We touched on it in the last show. It was in Australia. Australia won it. Everyone going mad. But where were the previous holders? They were nowhere to be seen. Well, they got to the quarterfinals and then lost to the UAE on penalties. So, which was a bit of a shock. I mean, a great result for the UAE, who eventually went to the semi-finals and lost to Australia in the semis. But they did so at the expense of Japan, who since the tournament have got rid of their manager, who we actually did a little bit of a profile on in an earlier show, Javier Aguirre, a Mexican chap, great pedigree, managed at Atletico Madrid amongst other places. But they've decided to get rid of him because he's been a little bit embroiled in a bit of match fixing. Yeah, to say the least.
I've never seen match fixing said with jazz hands before.
Well, you know, you've got to present it some way.
We've got to be a little bit careful, I guess. But
well, to paint a picture, so he was manager of, I think it was
2010 Real Zaragoza
against Levante, wasn't it?
Set the scene. Last game of the season.
Last game of the season, Zaragoza had to win to stay up. I think it was Zaragoza, it wasn't Levante, was it? Zaragoza had to win to stay up. Ended up winning 2-1, stayed up, and now that's being investigated for match fixing. Yeah, there's been
allegations that Levante players were handed a couple of euros.
Here and there. Well, the thing is, we touched on it, even though, there's not as much broadcasting money in La Liga, there's still, you don't want to go down. There's financial penalties if you do go down, and so if you can do a little... you must whistle when you do it, though. That's the rules. Although this is all, allegedly, we're not saying that any of this has been proven or anything, but it is under investigation. I know Ander Herrera, Manchester United midfielder, is also embroiled in this. Everyone's denying everything, but what the Japanese FA have said is they've said, while this court is ongoing and manager Aguirre could be indicted and have to appear in court, they've got a World Cup qualifying campaign coming up. They think they don't want to risk it having a negative impact on the players, which you'd say is commendable, but also the fact that they probably had a fairly disappointing Asian Cup. And then having said that, they also had a very disappointing World Cup, so...
Bad combo.
Well, I don't know what they were expecting. They got him as a new manager, and whereas, say, like South Korea, for example, had a bad World Cup, got a new manager in and got all the way to the final, wasn't so much the case for Japan. But they had a good group stage, didn't they?
Yeah, did not concede any goals, scored 7. So that's pretty good numbers, pretty damn sturdy at the back. But the key thing in the game against United Arab Emirates was just woeful finishing. They just don't have that number 9, that clinical striker. So that's one of the fundamental things that their team needs. And also that kind of displayed, that sort of potency in front of goal was highlighted quite significantly in the penalty shootout. I don't know if you saw Honda's goal. When you remember David Beckham against, was it Turkey?
It's what's just like rugby.
When it's like, I don't like, you've abused the law of physics. I mean,
what did he do?
It's just that high. It's just so high, astonishingly high. Kagawa missed as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a disappointment just because they've got such huge pedigree, haven't they? I think they've won it 3 or 4 times in the last 6 or 7 outings.
Traditionally, probably the strongest side in Asia. I mean, now Australia, kind of the new kids on the block there, are kind of rewriting things a little bit. But
would he have kept his job though if he'd won? Probably.
That's the
probably.
Yeah, you think so? But also, I mean, it all. You don't know if this is a convenient excuse by the Japanese FA. I mean, it's probably a fairly, I think it's a valid point that if you've got your national team manager who's involved in a match fixing scandal, whether he's innocent or not, he is involved in it, and he could get summoned to court. And maybe if you've got like a World Cup qualifying campaign coming up when you've got to charge all around Asia to all these different games, you just think, you know what, we don't need that. And it's not like he proved himself as indispensable at the tournament.
It's whatever way you cut it, it's pretty unsettling for Japan, and they've got a weird sort of their setup. Really, maybe they're just being respectful, but they're saying we're not going to approach any managers in the J League that are under contract.
So polite.
I know, it's very polite.
How fans that pick up all their rubbish after games.
We have to mention that each time because it's so unbelievable. Yeah, was that after every World Cup game they go around with bin bags and just pick up.
Yeah.
Mainly pick up their tears as such abysmal performances. And then the other criteria as well is they want someone who has Champions League experience, and that's Champions League both in Europe or South America. So there are a few candidates that fit that bracket.
Is this an official shortlist or your shortlist?
No, these are the names that have been bandied around. I love saying the
I
word
was going to
bandied.
say it's a great term.
Why, thank you. Of course, he's there. Ranieri,
He's always there.
tinkering.
Has he managed in Asia before?
I don't think he has.
I think it's an untapped
Obviously,
resource
he's
for him.
got Champions League pedigree, but going back quite a while now. Was it the likes of Valencia, Monaco, Chelsea?
Chelsea got to the semi-final with Chelsea in 2004 and then kind of blew it with some dodgy substitutions.
But had his awful time at Greece.
Well, he's
Faroe
managed
Islands.
every club in Europe, basically.
But as a national team,
yeah, Greece did lose to the Faroe Islands
and didn't get a win at all.
No, that was
Greece
short-lived.
they're not a bad team. So you feel that's a little bit of a murky one. And then the other one, big Felix Magath.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we enjoy talking about him.
He left me into shape.
Can you recall any of his sort of training techniques?
Wasn't it just like running up big hills?
Well, yeah, it was like a
lot.
cross country. I think it was like a 6-mile cross country, and there was all these water bottles at the end, and he made sure they were all empty, and then told them to do it again.
Doesn't he put like cheese on your leg if you're injured? Just lie down and put a little wheel of cheese under you.
Yeah,
your
who was
hammy.
that for? I don't know. I don't know if that's going to help. I don't know if you would have that on your
Fresh approach.
on your presentation to getting the job or not. So it remains to be seen who's going to get the job there.